what it was. Y'all know who it is. And y'all tuned in with priceless knowledge of self. And this right here, this ain't nothing but some cosmic insight. And say, man, I hope all y'all are feeling well, because I feel awesome. Matter of fact, I look better than I feel, and I feel fantastical. So I'll tell you a little bit about me right there. And whether you like it or not, this energy that I come with, this swag that I have, this is not something I developed overnight. Nah, I've always been like this. Ask anybody that knows me. Matter of fact, most of my family's like this too, on both sides. So I got it honest. And having it honest, that has a lot to do with what we're going to talk about here today. That's because this right here, this a little something about those people that have the sun in the 4th house of their natal chart. And see, before I actually go there, if you don't know my style, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to tell you a little bit about the sun. I'm going to give y'all a little information on the energy that comes along with it and how it might affect you. Then after that, we'll talk a little bit about what the 4th house of the astrological chart is all about. Then after that, we're going to bring it to a culmination, which fortunately for all of y'all, that's what I do best. So without wasting any more time, let's get it cracking. So the sun, this is the planet of self. And as it puts forth light, it also brings forth life. And it rules the sign of Leo in the 5th house of the astrological chart. And in astrology, the sun represents oneself, our personality, our ego, our spirit, and what it takes to make each one of us individually unique. It's our identity, and it can really speak to our creative ability and the power that we possess to meet the challenges of everyday life. And hey, our father, any male children that we might have, a lot of the major male influences in our life, they could all be ruled by the sun. And the sun's energy is forceful, and people's core being is here. And it's through its will that we learn to manifest ourselves in this world. And the sun is majestic. It rules over royalty. Hell, it even exudes it. Best believe. This is masculine energy, man. And hey, it's the sun that brings strength and vitality to all the other planets in our chart. The sun is all about strength and vitality. And, you know, in the astrological chart, the sun spends about 28 or a little bit over 28, 29 days in each sign. Okay. And, hey, when we talk about the house placement of the sun, this has a psychological, a physical, and an emotional significance on your life. So it's definitely something worth paying attention to. Okay. So when we talk about the 4th house, hey, the 4th house is ruled by the moon and the sign of Cancer. And, you know, it's considered to be the house of family and the house of home. And it's also known as the Natal or the IC. And, you know, it's here that we plant ourselves firmly and really lay down our roots into the earth, as it were. And so it's here in the 4th that things are kind of brought full circle by also addressing our old age, our endings, and our final resting place too. Okay. So whether a lot of people would like to speak on that or not, the 8th house is not the only place where you see death mentioned in astrology. See, the 8th house is death, but the end of life is seen in the 4th house. So that's something to understand. And, you know, this house right here can also speak to our relationship with our mother or our father. It depends on which one and which astrologer you're speaking to. Okay. Because a lot of people interpret it different ways. And really, you just have to look in your chart and look at your planet, your parents' placements, and see which one is represented by the 4th and which one is represented by the 10th. And I guarantee one will be represented by one and the other will be represented by the other, or both will be represented by one because the other one was non-existent in your life. So that's something to understand. Or the placement that you have in the 4th house or in the 10th house, it shows I didn't have nobody here in this house, and that's why I'm the way I am. So there's a whole bunch of ways to interpret that, man. And just understand this is also about family, home, our roots. And, you know, the 4th could also represent our actual house or any real estate that we might own or acquire, man. And, you know, the IC, like I said, man, it's about traditions. It's about traditions, which all that stuff that we've talked about right here, they contribute to the process of building a genuinely actualized and individualized self. Okay. And, you know, when we think about that, that right there is a sense of home in its highest form in itself right there, man. And any planets that are placed in the 4th house, you know, they speak to what we have to work with in a domestic sense. They also speak to, you know, what type of relationships we might have had with our parents. What type of energy are we bringing into our home in life later on in life? What type of energy did we have going on in the home that we grew up in? It has all that, and all of that right there, all of that embroiled together. It helps make up who you are internally, deep down inside. So this is your makeup. And the 4th is also a karmic house that really shows your ancestry. Okay. This shows what type of people you're coming from. Okay. So it doesn't matter which parent is the dominant one when we're speaking on the 4th and the 10th, which one is represented. The 4th house, whether it's we're talking about the sign that's on the cusp or the planets here, this represents your ancestry. These are the type of people that you come from. Okay. And that's something else that a lot of people don't address in astrology. So think about that too. So here we are. We're taking the sun and we're putting the sun in the 4th house. Okay. And, you know, the most obvious interpretation of this is just going to be somebody whose home and family are of the utmost importance to them. And does that mean that they're going to prefer to stay home and be with their kids or be with their family and just hermit themselves in as to going out and getting a career and building their own life? No. It just means that family is going to play a pivotal role in these people's lives. And for them, home is literally where the heart is. Okay. And hey, you could be talking about a Sagittarius right here where the 4th house sun, and that would mean they would probably have a Virgo rising. But we're talking about a Sagittarius right here with a 4th house sun. You know, the world is their home. They feel at home within the world. So that's something else to think of with that. And, you know, this placement right here, it also typically indicates that one of the parents had a tremendous influence over these people's lives. And with the sun typically representing the male principle, this probably means that it was their father in a lot of cases, or that it's their father's heritage that they're following in their lineage. It could also mean that. Or I've also seen that this represents the mother right here. And in this case, when it's representing the mother, this means that this is the mother that took on the role of both the mother and the father. This is the mama that did it all. And the child looked up to them and saw them in that way. She was both the provider, the protector, and the nurturer. And that's just kind of what it is in this household with this family. And with that going on, does that necessarily mean that they had a bad childhood with any of this? Absolutely not. Hey, this is a sun right here, because this actually means the contrary in most cases, man. This means that a lot of times they had the sun shining on them, man, and they got a lot of love when they were a kid, man. And that's beautiful, man. This really could mean a lot of different stuff, to be honest, because the sun is definitely considered a benefic in astrology. And with this being the natural ruler of Leo, this could also indicate that they came from money. Or maybe their parents were well-to-do or something like that, man. Or maybe they're a descendant of really influential people, or they come from a really long bloodline, or one of those elite bloodlines or something like that. Hey, man, there's a lot to consider right there, because you definitely would have to look at the sign and the house, right? I mean, the planets right there, and that'll tell you a lot more. But hey, man, this right here, it points to our ancestry. And even if it doesn't go to that extent, understand that this 4th house sun, it still suggests that tradition is extremely important to these people. And they usually try to stick to the customs that they were taught growing up, because most of them are deeply emotionally involved with preserving their cultural heritage. So yeah, me as a Cancer sun, I represent that to the fullest. I love that to the fullest. Okay. This is going to be a lot like being a Cancer sun. Understand? This is the sun being in the 4th house that's ruled by Cancer. So no matter what sign they're actually in right here, they're going to have a lot of Cancer to them. And I see you. And hey, also think about this, man. The 4th ain't just about the past either, because we're always talking about the heritage and the roots and all that. The 4th also speaks about the future, because it shows our old age and the last years that we'll spend on earth, as I was speaking about a second ago. And so, hey, man, with the sun right here, man, it typically means that they don't have much to trip about at all in that arena of life, man. And you got to understand there's always things to consider, and there's always exceptions to every rule. But this placement right here does usually point to a relatively pleasant old age right here. And, you know, with the sun representing health and strength and vitality, chances are they'll probably be in pretty good physical condition for their age, no matter what time or age they're in. And they'll also look a lot younger than their age at any point in life with this sun being in the 4th house. So that's a beautiful thing. And on another note with that, man, hey, the 4th doesn't only show the family that we come from. It also shows the family that comes from us. Understand? And so with the sun being here, this also says that these folks right here, they typically have a fairly decent shot at having a pleasant family life throughout their whole life, man. As long as that sun ain't afflicted or weakened in any way by aspects, hey, it looks like things are going to be fortunate for them. Does that mean there won't be their ups and downs and there won't be their problems? Hell no. Everybody has their ups and downs. It just means the sun is shining a light and probably help them get through it a lot more easy than most people. Okay. And that's a beautiful thing. Coming from the type of family that I come from, hey, whatever help you can get is whatever help you can get. Cause I'm a very family oriented person, but I have to distance myself because it just gets too much. it gets too much, man. And the thing with this, man, these people right here, they probably love to spend time with their kids, and they love to spend time in their home, and they love to make sure that their home is the most comfortable and beautiful place that it can be for them, man. And hey, man, they're willing to make sacrifices to protect their family. They'll do whatever it takes should the need come down to it. And I respect that to the fullest. But if this is your placement, I'm telling you now, you got to make sure that, you know, you don't get too overbearing, because being too bossy and domineering, that can most definitely be a pitfall of this one right here. And if you get to where, you know, you're doing too much, you could actually end up pushing away the people that you're wishing to love on and protect the most. And hey, man, let's not do that. Let's just not do that at all. And that'll help us of a lot of bullshit in life. And speaking of protection, hey, these right here, they're also the type of people who will protect their privacy. And I mean it. As a Cancer, I understand that. I see this. These people right here, these are the type of people that will protect their privacy above all else, man. And their home is a sanctuary. So you can see them in the street and they might be a whole different person. But if you bring some bullshit, some drama, some messiness to their house, they will never forgive you. Best believe that, man. That's something they will never like. They ain't gonna go for that. And once again, that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. They ain't gonna go for that. And lastly, man, the fourth house is also associated with real estate and land in astrology. And, you know, having the sun here, it does usually mean that there's some kind of good fortune that could be seen from, you know, getting into that arena of life. Whether you inherit some land from your family, from your dad or your mom or whatever, or you just get into real estate and it ends up being lucrative for you, man. That's something worth looking at, most definitely. And on a little side note, okay, hey, this one could also mean that one of their parents was a Leo, whether it be a sun, moon, or rising, or they just had really strong Leo energy or Leo placements. Or it could also mean that they just learned a lot from that parent. Or it could also mean that, you know, they were just really funny individuals and full of flair and full of life. Or it could mean there was all kinds of drama. It could mean all kinds of things, man. And we could do the whole spin around, but it's okay, because no matter what you got going on, even if you built like that, you don't have to build like that. And what I mean by that is, hey, we all have all this energy available to us. What you do with it is what you do with it. And even beyond that, it's not about what you do. It's about how you do it. And that's some priceless knowledge in itself. And there's been some priceless knowledge of self. You need to be hitting that like button right now. Okay. Hey, I appreciate all the love and support. I need some interaction. Y'all comment on the video. Y'all interact with me. Tell me how you feel, man. If you disagree with me, that's okay too. If you get disrespectful, I will delete your comment. Okay. I'm sensitive. So, hey, I want to thank everybody for everything, man. Y'all keep it true till next time, because personally, that's all I know how to do. So consider it done.